Hello, Namaste. I welcome you all to the 88th session of Gurubodha. On behalf of us, all of us students, I cordially welcome Dr. Gururaja sir to this session. I also cordially welcome Dr. Raghuram sir to this session. Good evening and Namaste sir. And this session is brought to you by easyayurveda.com. I dedicate this and all of my works at the holy feet of Dr. A. Chandrasekhar Udupa. This class is made live for Easy Ayurveda weekly class subscribers. If you have not done it, please go to easyayurveda.com/video-classes. Coming right to the topic, without much delay, is a video shared by made by Sundar Pichai. Actually, the video is slightly old. It is from 2018. Google has been continuously working on the contemporary technologies. One of them is artificial intelligence. And artificial intelligence, the word was coined like around 10 to 12 years before, and the technology has been developing. So this is same with all the technologies that it's also very akin to a mathematical invention. So when the mathematical invention happens, there will not be any use case in the beginning. It will be just theory and theory adding up to some practical angle, and but the scientists behind it keep on developing it and improvising it and further, and it grows slowly and very at one inflection point somebody makes a big leap of invention, and that technology suddenly becomes all of a sudden relevant, and it's present everywhere. So such a thing is happening with artificial intelligence. Mainly there is this chat gpt which became that inflection point that you can ask a question and it will answer. Of course, there are some biases and some answers are getting it wrong. And the data set that they are using is 2021 and before, not after. And it is, it is from a company called as OpenAI. Many of the big people are there. So coming to that, from that artificial intelligence, which is becoming big, there is also a thing called as like generative AI. It's generative artificial intelligence, meaning if you want to draw a picture with, for example, a rabbit with a monkey face, just to give an example, just enter it and it will throw you a picture of that. You can edit videos, all those things are coming up. So mainly for art, creativity, and getting our questions answered, it has been being used as of today. But this video shows like how Google has been continuously working, and this video shows how a retinal scan done with just a eye scanning instrument, retinal scanning instrument, which is commonly used for diagnosing diabetic retinopathy. With the same data and with the same machine, if we provide that vascular and that image information to artificial intelligence, it can predict many different things which a normal doctor cannot predict. So how this is trained is, for example, suppose a person has a heart attack or a high blood pressure, or with his age, thousands and thousands of images are fed to the artificial intelligence. So it clearly knows at what age how our retina looks, in what disorder how our retina looks. So based on that, if you present your present patient's a retina scan image, artificial intelligence will directly predict what the disease the patient may be suffering with, or what's the age of the patient, what is the blood pressure of the patient. May not be like 100% accuracy as of today, but it can predict with something like 98% of the predictions up to the mark. So Google has been conducting trials in Arvind Eye Hospitals. It's a chain of eye hospitals in India, and Shankar Eye Hospitals, and it was presented like this. So with this image of retina here, age, artificial intelligence is about predicting age as like average as 59.1, whereas actually it is 57.6. So it's not a big margin. Biological sex, male or female, it is able to predict. Whether the person smokes or not can be predicted. Whether a person is diabetic or non-diabetic. So diabetes, it's change in the retina, and the vascular changes with the diabetes. With that data which already it has, it compares it and predicts what is this image showing. Then BMI can also be predicted, and systolic blood pressure is getting predicted. So all these are not like very accurate. This is from 2018, but with every age, this prediction will come closer and closer to the normalcy. And Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google, said in that this and that more than what doctors could predict from eye scans, the same scanned images, artificial artificial intelligence was able to provide more insights. This could be the basic non-invasive way to predict cardiovascular risk. And with this, even a layman can do a self-retinal analysis. Maybe an app will do the analysis and tells he's hypertensive, or he has a chance of heart attack, he should consult a doctor immediately, so on and so forth. And it is also showing that it helps the doctors to predict medical events. So it's still, artificial intelligence is not predicted, or is projected as not as a replacement for doctors. It is projected as an aid for better diagnosis and better treatment protocols for the doctor. So it can help the doctor with whether the patient is what is the outcome of a specific therapy or specific treatment protocol, how, whether it will be positive or negative, when can patient can be discharged, what is the projected days of healing for a particular disease, and if I give medicine A, in how many days it can heal based on the previous data, etc. And 24 to 48 hours before the traditional methods gives the doctors more time to act. So if a person is going to have a cardiovascular accident in this model can predict within 1 or 2 days, which gives ample time for the doctor to act, so on and so forth. And as of now, AI algorithms, intelligence algorithms can analyze medical images, X-ray, MRIs, ultrasound, etc., and give a better prediction than what is currently what a radiologist can predict. And I think there's a famous video of like doctors, many of the diagnostic specialists, radiologists, etc., predicting, and then MRI, this artificial intelligence tools predicting it, and AI was beating all the radiologists. So potentially diagnosis of cardiac arrhythmias, predict stroke outcomes, and assist with managing chronic diseases. These are all the ways in which the things are moving with artificial intelligence and medical science. Gururaja, sir, let me bring you to this conversation. One is that this technology and medical science are getting closer and closer to each other. So
definitely, any new technology will definitely explore the new vistas for the management of a health conditions. But any sort of artificial intelligence or anything or any equipment cannot totally replace a doctor. See, when in 1990s, when the computers started entering into the India and all other places, people were worried, and there was a huge cry that it will replace humans. But it is not so. Doesn't seem to be the same now in 2023. The computers have even created more jobs. Similarly, artificial intelligence will even potentiate a doctor for a better understanding of the human body or a pathology and what a best thing can be done. So, but saying that a layman can also identify things, what's next after identifying it? It doesn't sound anything. He has to rush to the doctor and hospital. So it only creates, certain times it's good, at the same time it is a double-edged sword. It can also give unnecessary panics. For example, the machine is so designed, our techniques are many times it is so designed, and the digital equipments are so designed, it says if your BP or the blood pressure is 141, then it shows us moderately high or high. But if it is 140, then it shows as normal. So this is type of things maybe a doctor can understand, it is not of much of significance, but the same thing from a common man or anything, particularly for engineers, it is a very alarming things for them. I have observed many times, even at the fixation of dose also, when we say this is the amount of medicine you have to consume, the question will be like that, so what will happen if I have taken just half spoon extra of this medicine? I have taken 3 grams, you have suggested 2.5 grams by mistake, what will happen? Of course, it's a concern, but their assessment goes with respect to chemistry and maths and physics. Accuracy is somewhat very near, but biology is not like that. Human body behaves in a very erratic and very different manner. N number of new things may come. It may improve the scope for the doctor to act in any given set of conditions, but provided that it won't make a replacement for the doctor. But on the contrary, this is a very important one. Artificial intelligence is giving you out to the new areas or new inputs in understanding the disease, or trying to develop a new model or a better protocols for the treatment. But And the contrary, this AI can also cause sometimes panics, as well as some of the interpretations or things may be exaggerated. So we need to once again to analyze those things. A doctor is a must, one who can understand the body better than these equipments. What could I say?
Yes, one thing is that it can trigger unnecessary panic, and suddenly someone gets diagnosed as like hypertensive. I mean, he himself misdiagnoses himself rather than consulting a doctor. And I mean, hypertension can be like maybe related to anxiety, maybe related to stress, maybe related to lack of sleep, maybe related to like high pitta with spicy diet, etc. Only a doctor can be able to diagnose or predict for what instance which reading is relevant or not. So that point is very well taken. And Raghuram sir, if you have any comments on this, please, initial comments.
Absolutely, yes, sir. So good topic to discuss on this platform, in any platform. Gururaja sir rightly said, very important points, those. Again, I want to add here. So where did this artificial intelligence come from? It came from the intelligence of human being itself. So we have created artificial intelligence. So there are two aspects, natural and artificial. We have preferred, today's mankind has preferred going in an artificial way. The name itself, it shows it's artificial. So if it is artificial, there may be some errors also in the artificial system. So ultimately, the human will be the detrimental factor. So we have invented the system called as artificial intelligence. We are operating, we are manipulating. So we are still the boss of the artificial intelligence also. So when we are looking at artificial intelligence in medical system, basically what we are trying to see, we are trying to see a predictive medicine or a preventive medicine. That's it. One is a predictive medicine, another is a preventive medicine. These two aspects we are seeing. We are not seeing the curative medicine, as Gururaja sir rightly pointed out. Ultimately, they need to rush to the hospital and the doctor has to take care. So whether it is a doctor who is using the AI or the engineer who is using the AI or any student who is using the AI, the ultimate product and the conclusion will be given by the human being. So again, it will come to the discussion table only, or it will go to the diagnosis table or to the treatment table only. So here we are looking at predictive medicine number one and preventive medicine number two. As I said, artificial intelligence in one or the other way was always there, right from Ayurveda time period also. And one more thing I want to tell is when it comes to investigation or crime scene investigation, take example Sherlock Holmes. They say if Sherlock Holmes get a hair piece, a small piece of hair, he will finish the investigation just like that. Like interrogation, investigation, everything will be finished with a piece of hair. So how did he derive all that information just from a piece of hair? So that is science that was always there. The human mind runs in so many directions. So from a hair, it will go to so many clues and the web of clues will open up and ultimately the culprit or somebody can be caught up. Same thing is the forensic medicine it is doing. So in medical system itself, we have with or without our knowledge, so many artificial intelligence systems operating where a human intelligence itself, artificial intelligence is a branch out or branches out from the human intelligence itself. So that is one thing I just wanted to tell. So it was always there in Ayurveda. So when we go to predictive and preventive medicine, so where exactly artificial intelligence is there, Ashtasthana Pariksha. So even Mr. Pichai was also speaking about looking at the retina or looking at the eye and diagnosing some heart conditions and other things. It was said that the eye doctor or the ophthalmologist will probably be the first person in many cases to diagnose a case of diabetes rather than a diabetologist or a general physician. It will be the ophthalmologist who probably first diagnoses the diabetes in many cases. So the body, see, the best artificial intelligence is the human body itself, because it is giving clues from so many directions. So many directions it is giving the clues that this disease might be there inside. So body has a language which is manifested in many ways, like Purva Rupas. We will take Purva Rupas. So Purva Rupas help us in diagnosing a disease way ahead before the disease manifests in the fourth stage of diagnosis itself in Kriya Kala. So this is basically the intelligence of the physician works out. Kriya Kalas have been mentioned to diagnose the disease in the earliest possible stage. So here In Sanchaya and Prakopa, it is difficult to diagnose. But if we can diagnose in that in those stages itself, the intelligence is more smarter. So here, the smartness of the physician, each and every physician will differ in which stage they are trying to diagnose the disease or trying to handle it. Will they allow it to go to the stage of Vedavastha and also the complications to creep up and then attend it, or in the Vektavastha when the symptoms are manifested, or in the Purarupavastha itself catch the clues and treat the disease. So like this, we have Ashtasthana Pariksha, as Pichai ji was rightly mentioning about looking into the eye and diagnosing the heart. Ashtasthana Pariksha has been explained, Nadi Malamutra Jihva Shabda Sparsha Dhru Prakriti. When we go through these things, when we go through the explanation of the Kriya Kala, the Pura Rupa explained in each and every disease. These are giving the earliest explanation of a disease which is yet to be manifested. So, Dashavida Pariksha, all the Pariksha methods, if we take into consideration, so many clues we get to diagnose a disease even before the disease is manifested, full blown, or diagnosed or given a terminology that this is Jwara, this is Raktapitta, this is Shitapitta. Even before telling that, the body is letting us have the clues. The same thing, the machines or the other part of the intelligence, the computer, the system are doing it. As Gururaja sir rightly pointed out, way ahead, when computers came into the offices and banks and everywhere in almost all the territory, it thought it will replace. Obviously, it might have reduced the manpower there, but it cannot beat to the human intelligence to a particular level, because if artificial intelligence was superior to the human being, artificial intelligence would have created human being. So here we can see that human being is creating the artificial intelligence. So that shows somewhere the human intelligence is far way ahead and it can think more in a progressive and aggressive way than the artificial intelligence. So having said this, the artificial intelligence has it's a technology which probably figures out and also which rises up as the time goes. It will be the best system in all the systems and also in the medical system. But having said that, it has its big pluses and it also has its minuses. Both need to be considered.
And I remember there was this, computer technology would replace human jobs and ultimately everyone will be jobless and computer will take away all the things. But the same as a threat was alarmed when the cars were invented first. This is from a piece of history that when the cars were invented, at the time, there was this horse who takes care of the horse, one who washes the horse, one who feeds the horse, one who rents or builds horse shelter. All those jobs were under threat. One who rides the horse and then a horse cart, etc. And there was a big hue and cry that all those jobs will be lost just for an engine with four wheels would replace that. And just because there was this invention of car, not only the car manufacturing and distribution, all those industry developed, automobile industry developed into such a massive at such a massive scale. It also helped to develop a hotel industry that the concept of lodge or concept of going to some place and staying there, that concept and that at a large scale that everyone can dream of going to some other place and stay there. Hotels, etc. came grew, that market grew just because of the cars. So one industry, of course, the older technologies will eventually be replaced with the new ones, but there is no threat of like job scare or anything like that, as long as you are creative and up to date. And coming to this, patients getting access to some tools, there is one is that it can diagnostic or let's say medical tools. In one way it can be detrimental, that we discussed that somebody will have a raised BP and suddenly he'll think he's having a heart attack, and that wrong alarms will always be there. But in India, if I want to do say a hormonal assay or any lab test, even in some cases the radiological tests, etc., I can go, I being a non-medical person, I can go and get it done. But in countries like US, etc., all the tests apart from the blood sugar test, etc., most of the tests like hormonal assay, etc., has to be routed through a doctor himself. So doctor controls the records. The patient doesn't have any access to any records or even the right to get some certain blood tests or certain lab tests done. And in a poor patients living in villages. GNPA wrote same in France. Yeah. So poor patients living in rural areas, they have just for a simple sugar test or blood sugar test or anything, they have to travel 4 to 5 kilometers, or even in some cases 5 to 10 kilometers. ECG, CT scan, etc. They have to some in some places in India they had to travel 100 plus kilometers. And though they will be having doctors rurally, but the lab equipment etc. will not be there in the rural side. They will be only in big cities or district headquarters. And also many blood tests are like being costly etc. So, and in I have seen many cases where the MRI is done when the patient is admitted, but when the patient is discharged, his MRI report is not given to the patient. So the medical records are not there with the patient. So next time when he gets the same complaint, he has to go for new MRI, etc. So, Guru sir, I mean, with all the precautions which are rightly pointed out, patients should have some rights on his records, and there should be some easy tools have know what is pulse, how the heart is doing, etc. At least basic information which can help him to go to a doctor when required as early as possible, sir.
There are two aspects in this. One is something like the countries of West, where to get a doctor's appointment, you need to have a very lengthy time of waiting. Maybe if you are going directly into the emergency, you will be attended. Otherwise, for a regular consultation, you need to be wait for a long time till your term comes. So in those places of this type of health setup is there, I think definitely any equipment which can give out you some basic ideas about your body health or your conditions, some app or a smartwatch or something like that, which can give you your heart rate, pulse, oxygen saturation, and anything like that, or your heart is beating more, or it may give out your TSH value, something like that, without doing any invasive techniques, simply just because of your some other scanning or something like that. It can be done very easily, and if such things are there, definitely it is a boon. Definitely it is going to help in a lot more way. But those people who going to utilize these things should be trained or made to understand that these are only a prediction near to normalcy or near to your accurate state of health, but it is not the exact thing. So don't panic on the whatever the outcome is there. When you use any artificial intelligence, use any equipment or medical equipment, it's only give you a basic idea that where your body is behaving or how it is behaving, where your status of health is, all those things. If you find any alarming thing, you can definitely have a consultation with the doctor and take the help of it. And definitely it will have a when positive things are also, of course. But only thing is that people should be trained that should not get panic because of any thing which is shown in the equipments or any app or any smartwatch. So don't totally rely upon that. It's only a what you call Disha Nirdesh. It can give you a direction that where you are going or what needs to be done. It may give us something like that. Because of these inputs, even some equipments in the future may come out with saying that it is better to contact your doctor at the earliest. It may give you suggestions like that. So something like that. So definitely there is a positive out of this AI intelligence related equipments, and definitely it will going to throw us a lot more information from the inside of the body. But that is not only that ultimate and accurate information. Still, a new technology arrives, this will be accurate. Once a new technology comes, this will become obsolete.
Yes, sir. It is not like a. I mean, AI is not like a end goal. It is just that one step towards enabling predicting deeper insights using small data set or small lab related scanned images or a retinal scan, etc. And yeah, I mean, going through a few comments here, Apple Watches in 2020 sent false alarms, so AI needs to work more. Yeah, I mean, that is same with the technology. And even that is same with medicines also. Like not all medicines work in the expected line every time for every patient, even the diagnostic tools also. And even in that argument, even radiologists, it's quite common to make mistakes also. As of now, better to rely on the, at least the AI should not be like suppressed from medical diagnosis, etc. It should be encouraged just to see where it is going to take us ahead. And someone has written in German Roman has written in USA we can do any tests without the prescription from the doctor as long as it is paid in cash. We can do MRI, ultrasound, X-rays, etc. for cash. I mean, as a layperson, that can be done. I was not knowing. I was told that at least for the blood test, it requires this one requires doctor's prescription. And then lately, we do have access to our records. Every office is allowed to us to create portals and check all the tests or lab works. I mean, that is true there, maybe, but in certain parts of the world, the access is not so easy. Dr. Madhavbaug joins and says many branded hospitals in Karnataka don't give any medical reports. This is what I was talking about, which are done at the cost of patients. Is just a monopoly. This I've seen multiple times that patient comes and he asks for some records and he doesn't have. Especially these village people, they'll not be having any voice to raise. They think that doctors are gods. So and they'll be like some maybe like semi-illiterate. So they'll be totally under the control of doctor, and such mischievous things happens. Gururaja sir, please.
Usually, what we have seen is major corporate hospitals. Many times they do like this. Whenever a patient goes there for any higher-end or high-end any equipment related tests and all those things, then definitely they'll do the test, they'll tell the report and everything, but the copy will be stored in their medical records system, MRS system it will be, and they'll be given some token. They'll say, whenever you come back for the repeat reviews, then we will take up all those things and it will be with there. But certain development is also there that if we want to, if we ask that we want a copy of that, then they will charge some extra amount and give you a second copy of the same thing. But still, many times the films of the MRA and X-ray, the things they won't issue it, or CT, they don't issue it. So this is what we can see many times. But when you are paying it and taking it from outside any labs or any corporate setups, usually they will give it. Only certain corporate setups they are not giving. If you ask for that, then they will charge extra to give you a second copy of it, because what they say is that the records will be kept at our assessment for our purposes at medical legal department, medical records department. So this is what they usually tell it. But actually, it is not a right thing. That is when any person or a patient, he has its right to have its reports with him because he has paid for that report. But many times, even in government setups also, it happens that it will be taken into the records room and it will not be given to them because they will not be paying anything for that, and it is free of cost for all these records. So whatever the record is generated, that will be kept as a proof for their activity, and it will be in medical record department.
Yes, sir. And Raghuram sir, please.
Yeah, one thing about this, sir, is hospitals or the management of the hospitals, they want the patient to come back to their hospital only for the follow-up. So that is why probably they don't disclose or give the records, but right to information. So every person they need those reports, or each report should be given. Let the hospital have a copy, and another copy should be issued to the patient. So because if they go for a second opinion or a third opinion to some other hospital, it again plays on the expenses on the pocket of the patient. They have to get those same investigations redone once again, and they have to pay there also. So having their records in 2-3 hospitals for first, second, and third opinions will be ridiculous. And it is not only a torture in terms of emotional torture, and also the person will be drained in terms of money and other things. Reports are for a common man, like for a poor or a middle class person, it will be really costly affair to spend money repeatedly to get those reports done again and again wherever they go. So probably the hospital will have some reasons, but even people should have the guts to demand, okay, we will pay you extra, but I want a copy of my record. If people don't ask, these people will start having those copies. So one main agenda will be the patient should not be going somewhere else, and we should not lose our clients. Let them come back to us. Okay, we will come back to you, but probably there might also be a chance that I take some other opinion. So I need my reports. Let them have the first copy. So the second copy has to be handed over to each and every patient. patients should also learn to demand. So because they have the right to information, they have to demand and take the reports.
Thank you. And Dr. Madhavbaug, sir, wrote technology should be under the control of specialists. Very true, because whatever the reading is just a reading unless a doctor interprets, nothing can be decided just with that reading. AI should enter the regular market, and then only its merits and demerits can be studied. Yeah, this part is taking a lot of time. First, this an Apple Watch. We have discussed this before also, that Apple Watch is able to like predict heart attacks and so on and so forth. They started making some medical claims, and but FDA came in and said that if you want to do medical claims means to diagnose, test, cure, or prevent. All these aspects are anything that diagnoses, tests, cures, or prevents any disease or heals. All those things are under the medical claim category. So FDA came and you have to apply for Apple Watch as a medical device. Only then you can make these claims. That has to go through the FDA and all. Even this AI models, etc., whatever is getting done or developed as of now, are under the trials mode itself, and it's not like very well established as of now. And I also have there is this Aura ring, which can just a ring which can predict many things, or follow the sleep pattern, or pulse, heart rate, everything. Just wanted to show it here. So this is Aura ring. Most trusted smart ring. Your health, your style, your way. Sleek, comfortable, accurate, so on and so forth. So it's just a ring, has many sensors inside it, which helps to follow our day and sleep tight with the industry leading sleep tracker. Total sleep, efficiency, restfulness, all those things can be tracked. Bring your fitness into the focus. This is what the common all smart watches do. How much you are ran, how much distance you are covered, for how long, average heartbeat, all those things. This any standard app, even our mobile in our pocket can do these calculations to some extent. Of course, mobile in the pocket cannot understand the heartbeat per se, but know why you feel and how you feel. 88% of Aura members saw an improvement in their overall health. There is some still they are under beating around the bush, so to speak. There are some experts who use it and on, but there's no like a solid clinical data which clears this. I'm just giving this as one example. So Gururaja sir, please.
Definitely, when such things are introduced to market, because everybody will be curious to know about what is body behaves, or what is blood pressure, what is things, so many things. Those who are health conscious definitely fall behind this. But while sleeping, it is better to keep away all these equipments away from you. It may be any ring, or it may be any smartwatch or anything like that. Don't use that. Anything which has a Wi-Fi setup or something like that, where there is the non-ionizing radiation are being used there, even the mobiles, put away when you are sleeping as well as possible. Use them only when and where it's required. There is no need to use them in a lengthy period, continuously using this and every time watching it at 24 hours, trying to know about your health. That may not be sound good. So we need to take the other part also. That is the any invention or any technology which has a plus as well as it is a double-edged sword. So it will have a negative effect also. We should be very careful even for that part of it.
Yes, and that part is so very true. Going through a few more comments here. I live in USA. Mara Cummings writes, I live in USA. Doctor's prescription is required for the most tests, and some private laboratories do testing without doctor's prescription, but the costs are unaffordable for most people. Then Dr. Vasanta Reddy chimes in, artificial intelligence should be supportive tool to the doctors, not a replacement. No one can replace medical acumen of human doctors, at least not at the stage AI is currently now. Very true, ma'am. However, considering the number of variables Ayurvedic doctors use for diagnosis and treatment, AI can be a great tool. So using AI judiciously should be the goal. Judiciously should be, I think, in the bold and italics and underlined. But patients should have the right information, and doctors should also include education as part of the treatment. So probably that is the right segue to discuss a little bit of like a Ayurveda and AI. Are we totally ready for it or not? So let me just put some theories for the like a diagnosis part. I mean, out and out, there is this Dashavida Pariksha, there is Lakshanas, Pura Rupas, all those things. So Dashavida Roga Pariksha, or say Rogi Pariksha, Nidana Panchaka, let's say, Panchaka, etc. So I think we have to somehow, if we tie up that with, say, lab scanned images, or the relationship with, say, certain lakshanas with ESR, say ESR and relationship with Shota lakshanas. I'm just giving an example. I may not be, these examples or correlations may not be like perfect. Like Vata and Pitta dosha increase together with increased blood pressure or increased pulse rate. What does it indicate, and what and all conditions we can know? Or any type of Rudroga and its correlation with ECG, or even modern cardiological tests and everything included under the heart. Yeah, and similarly, any type of Basti rogas or Vrukka rogas with its correlation with KFT, with kidney function test. So this done along with, so these lakshanas seen along with this particular blood test being high indicates particularly this dosha or this type of subtype of vyadi is that. To arrive at that, there's still a long way to go. Gururaja sir, please.
Definitely, if Ayurveda and artificial intelligence are put together, definitely there are much scope for developing many equipments from the point of view of Ayurveda is concerned. But how far we are as Ayurvedic practitioners, we are ready to accept these equipment and their interpretations. That is a big question mark, because many a time if you give a similar situation to five different Ayurveda doctors to diagnose, at least three or four varieties of diagnosis will come out. They will diagnose it according to their understanding of the disease or conditions or their intelligence or whatever it is. It may be. They may be true from their experience, whatever it is. But in a scientific community, that is not at all accepted. They want something as a standardized one or an accurate understanding of the condition. So if we put together all the information of Ayurveda, wherever it is said, which is said to be as authentic books, so from there, then the data has to be merged with the observations of various people, then something like that is to be developed. But these areas, to develop these type of things, requires a huge amount. Whether people of Ayurveda will use such equipments, whether they are trained in that, how much they are definitely, understand these outcomes, that's a big question mark. Once if it is done, then definitely we'll take up. Otherwise, see, anybody, any engineer or any medical equipment developing person, why he will venture into such an area where it is not lucrative, it is not going to produce any money later on? See, anything which is producing should give out something new area, and it should create a lot of money in that. Then only people will rush into that areas. Or it should be somebody who is having to following things. See, for example, Nadi and some pulse reading technology, some techniques, some equipments came. How many of us we are using it? None of us, or most of us are not using it. So we are not exposed, or we are not ready to accept ourselves and even accept those equipments into our practices. We still feel that my Nadi Pariksha, my own assessment is good and better than all these things. But if we don't have that rational mind set up to understand and accept the new things and try to interpret it accordingly where it can fit into our knowledge and our understandings, and without compromising from the basic idea of Ayurveda and what the Acharyas have said, definitely it should be allowed and it should be given a scope for that. But unfortunately, I don't know how many years it may take to come in this direction to develop such apps or such equipments which can predict by just by putting it to the cuff, it says that your Prakriti is so that, and it becomes so accurate. So that needs to be a lucrative area as the future. But how many takers are there? It's a big question mark.
Yes, sir. I mean, we are way far. I mean, there was this getting the pulse diagnosis and pulse this one in Shark Tank India in the season 1 when this pulse diagnosis tool was pitched. They were also the pitching company also pitched that with the help of this they can analyze Prakriti of the person, and then with that Prakriti we can help diagnose or predict certain diseases for which a particular person can be prone to, etc. And in that, one of the judges of the Shark Tank, a businesswoman, she told that she has taken several tests, and each time this Prakriti test she takes online, each one gives its own reports and its own conclusions. They never match. So we are little far behind in adopting technology, and nothing negative about it. It's just a matter of time. And I mean, we either as such, as long as the science is moving towards a positive direction, we should all be happy. Raghuram sir, please.
Yes, sir. Coming to this Prakriti analysis, why there is so much of difference and variations in Prakriti, determining Prakriti. So I have also heard many people tell that this is not actually correlating with what I have. So basically, to decide Prakriti, most of the Prakriti analysis charts and questionnaires are Vikriti analysis only. They are not Prakriti analysis actually. People need to understand the difference between Prakriti and Vikriti. So the balance and imbalance. So generally the human mind will work in such a way, I will remember what I am today, what I am for the past 1 month or 1 year. So my memory is very weak to remember what were my past years, how was I in the past years, what were my birth years. So I may not have somebody may not have some proof, or somebody who can give proof like their parents or somebody or elders. So as to what was their body constitution, were they thin at birth? They don't even have photographs supporting to that. So what was their birth weight? Many people don't know. So to determine Prakriti, we need many parameters in true sense. Everything needs to be true. But what the person is narrating while taking a Prakriti analysis is the Vikruti only. The current state, the person is stating the current status of him or her. That is why the record and also the documentation becomes wrong. And that is where the wrong diagnosis happens. That is where the wrong treatment happens. So doctors also should frame the questionnaires in such a way that the Prakriti information, when you are answering this question, what you need to focus and how you need to answer, from which particular perspective. So the person may just enter that, are you thin or obese? The person may just enter, I am thin. Okay, so what is your weight? Like BMI, something calculating to it comes to a thin personality. The person might not write that I have worked out in the gym and have done a lot of exercise, dieting and all those things, and I have thinned out. If that information is given, then the past information, whether the person was obese or over obese or what, and what workouts brought him to this particular state. So the human intelligence is working on the current status. While answering the questions, we are thinking about what I am, not what I was. So if what I was blends with what I am, comparative things are done, Prakriti and Vikruti. How many belong to Prakriti can be screened out, and then exact Prakriti of the person can be determined. If Prakriti can be determined, then we can also predict what problems may come into the future. So this was just I was attending that particular point. So my point on Dr. Hedbar sir's analysis of A and Ayurveda, whether we can really consider it. So here is one way where we can do it, just like all these things, lab, scanned images, ESR, Shota, Lakshana, good things. But certain things definitely we are doing at the PG and PhD levels as a part of our research. So we are definitely doing that. So they need to be intensified, number one. Like we are doing separate groups, trial group and also the other groups while doing PGs and PhDs. We need to do 2 groups, like or 3 groups. Like one group diagnosing a particular disease-wise, symptom-wise. Like if we take Shota, for example, Ayurveda way of diagnosing Shota, one group will totally work without including any modern parameters. The second group will use intelligence, artificial intelligence, modern equipments, everything. And the third group will use both. So the results yielded by each group should be analyzed at the end for each symptom and each disease. This is a tedious process. This may take years together, decades together, as Gururaja sir rightly pointed out. But this is one way. One group totally dedicating to diagnose in an Ayurvedic way. Another group Ayurveda with only artificial intelligence included into Ayurveda. Third group, artificial intelligence with Ayurveda. If these 3 results, if we can scan out at the end of these 3 studies, and whichever is superior, if artificial intelligence plus Ayurveda is yielding better diagnostic conclusions, and treatment given on that basis is yielding better results. What else we want? So that is exactly what we want. So if it is done on condition to condition, symptom to symptom, disease to disease basis, and every time artificial intelligence blending with Ayurveda, if it yields very good results, that may open up the gates for giving better results in future in terms of every disease, and also making diagnosis and prognosis.
I think like one way in which Ayurveda can be helped greatly by AI is for all the NEET passed candidates before they before they get into BMS. At least an aptitude test can be designed whether they are like mentally ready for entering Ayurveda or BMS is right for them or not. Such an aptitude test can be very useful just to at least to filter out people who are not so interested in Ayurveda still coming here just for the sake of a medical degree. And going through a few more comments here. Vasanta Reddy ji writes, AI should be supportive tool to the docs, not a replacement. It's important to critically appraise the studies published, the study design, use, inclusion, exclusion criteria, and conclusions, and also who has funded the particular research also becomes important. If a pharma company funds a research study, then there are chances of bias because the pharma wants to extract some benefit out of the result of this clinical trial study. We have several dosha quizzes online and people use for self-diagnosis, but more often than not, it does not end well and they end up seeking an Ayurveda practitioner. So AI can assist practitioner but cannot replace. Correlation studies between Ayurveda and medical tests used in modern medicine. Medical tests used in modern medicine should be done by Ayurvedic scientists and should be published. It's still a long way to go because very few studies are done. Acceptance in Ayurvedic doctors and counterparts in allopathy is because correlation studies have not been done. And also, there's a question that I would like to know if Nadi can state the condition of an organ. If so, we can train AI to decipher the Nadi. If it is Vata Nadi with a problem of liver, or can predict help doctors point to a particular disease, etc. To answer this Nadi Pariksha is true. It really works, but it depends on, I mean, from the best of the best Nadi experts, what I've seen is it depends on the spiritual strength of the person, sattvic mental status of the person. So many things are like subjective that, there is no Nadi Pariksha which can be like standardized as of now without, forget about AI and its interpretation, etc. Nadi Pariksha as of now is still not in a stage which can be, there's a book on Nadi, I read it and I implement it, or a course which I attend and I implement it. Like 1,000 doctors attend the same course, getting the same results, same diagnosis with the training. We are not yet reached there, so I think it's still a long way to go. And then Dr. Madhav Sir writes, when a new patient comes for remedy, we are trying to assess Prakriti when patient is in Vikruti status. Yes, this is exactly, is a problem with many of the, Prakriti Vikruti analysis. Differentiation is not there in the mind of many students and also doctors. Rightly pointed out by even Raghuram sir also. If long inquiry of Prakriti protocol is started, it is very difficult. Whether AI will be helpful in this regard, Nadi and AI is a good area to work. That's where probabilities Oura ring and other diagnostic tools or other health maintenance tools can also come into picture sometime in future, but not as of now. So, Dr. Ram, would you say that Prakriti determination should be done by the Ayurveda doctor? I have also experienced different answers with dosha tests. A lot of fashion magazines have dosha quiz. This know your dosha is a very big, very big trend in many countries. What can Ayurvedic doctors do to counter this and educate lay persons? I mean, we are trying to do that. Raghuram sir, please.
Yeah, I replied to Vasanta Reddy madam there, so that the Ayurveda doctor should have a clarity. First of all, what answer I am expecting from the question I am asking you. Please be clear. So the doctor should define the question, the exact definition of the question will extract a very good answer from the patient. So for this to do, the client, so the patient or otherwise, even a healthy person should sit in front of the doctor. They should have a conversation and the doctor should make the notes, and at the end they should come to the summary. So these are the points which I can decide that you belong to this Prakriti. So then only the Prakriti analysis will be close to correct correct version. So otherwise, definitely we will be doing the errors. So because our question is not clear, the patient or the client, whoever is answering, will answer in just like MCQs, just like that. So if we have yes or no, or yes, no, or something, some other options, so which leads to a leading answer. So I don't think that will solve the problem. So it is always one-to-one which solves this problem. So Prakriti and Vikruti are definitely jumbled up in the Prakriti questionnaires. This, to avoid that error, the client should be exactly in front of the doctor, and the doctor should define the question.
And also, I mean, it's very difficult to incorporate all the things, judge everything with just what the patient is saying. For example, what the Prakriti person is known to be more jealous. More jealousy is one thing, and stealing tendency is there. He'll not put that into online test in which do you have stealing tendency, then he'll say yes, and then tomorrow CBA is at your doorstep. Gururaja sir, please.
See, definitely these Prakriti analysis, whatever you are doing it, if we could be able to develop an equipment or an ability by an Ayurveda practitioner without asking any question to the patient, when patient is in a healthy condition, if we could be able to do it and analyze it by our own methods, then definitely the accuracy will be there. Otherwise, because most of these Prakriti analysis will be based on the questionnaire, and it entirely drags you away from the things based on the answers given by the client. The patient may be, for example, what is the taste which is the most suitable or you appreciate it? He might have said earlier it is Madhavbaug is very good to me. But sometimes in the next somewhere around the same type of thing, then he may say that I think I am enjoying the sour taste. Then totally your result will be different in both the conditions. Similarly, what about your hair? Whether you are having a very thin hair or a thick hair? Then you previously had very thick hair, but now I have got thin hair. What to write? So these type of things will always drag us to the unnecessary controversies, and the results will not be accurate. We could be able to develop any artificial intelligence based equipment or something like that, or some technology or some extra spiritual powers of a human being, that by just simply by assessing the Nadi, you could be able to understand it in a healthy person. Definitely the Prakriti of person may be very accurately measured. Otherwise, definitely based on the questionnaire means we are unnecessarily be dragged to the unnecessary things, and we don't find a similar type of results in each and every attempt on the same patient or the same person.
Yes. So yeah, the Prakriti analysis is still, I mean, as we go further with the technologies, with Ayurveda implementation to really happen, so many hurdles and so many challenges, and the blending can only be done between AI and Ayurveda on the basis of evidence through studies. I told Raghuram sir, please.
Since Prakriti depends on what the person was rather than what the person is, or a mixture of both, and since many Ayurveda hospitals are also conducting deliveries, if this can be inculcated in the case sheet pro forma, like at the discharge summary, if the doctor delivering the child or the baby in the hospital, before the discharge, if they can write on the summary that the child is or the infant is predominantly Vata or predominantly Vata Pitta, on the features, at least on the external features, what they've observed, the birth weight and other things, color, and also the hair and many things, if they can analyze, and at the discharge, if they can write predominantly Vata Pitta, so that will provide a document for future. So as the child grows up, at every level, the Prakriti and Vikruti shall be analyzed. So I think if this is practiced or brought into practice by the Ayurveda hospitals offering delivery of the children, so then I think it will be a good option. So that even in future, if some other doctors after 30 years if is looking at that particular person, they will know right at the birth what they were and what exactly they are now and what happened in those 30 years.
So that also, there are some restrictions. For example, gestational diabetes, the baby can be like slightly obese when on birth, but tending towards kapha. Then teeth arrangement, what a person will have like a misaligned teeth and all cannot be. So I mean, there are too many things. So
no, even those things can be documented, like those things also, the Prakriti, and these things were the Vikrutis what we have noted. So if that is done, even in the intrauterine life of the child, so because the monthly examination of the pregnant woman will be done, so at different stages, if they can document, so the development of the child, So development of different infants in the mother's womb takes place in a different way. So even that can be seen. Again, here are the blocking areas is how much nutrition the child is getting and all those things. What is the prakriti of the mother, father, and all those things come into the question. So here, right from the beginning itself, the prakriti of the father, prakriti of the mother, everything taken into consideration, and again documenting every detail of the kid supposed to be born or immediately after the birth and the consecutive few days. So probably can give us a data for the future. So that is what. And if you identify any vikruti like neonatal jaundice, so you can write there that the child was having neonatal jaundice. That also clearly gives us a clue. We have nidanartha karatva, like Panduroga. In Panduroga, when the person consumes excess pitta increasing foods, it will lead to kamala. So Pandurogi vatartam pittalane nishayavate tasya pittam asrut mamsam dadva rogaya kalpate. So nidanartha karatva is yet another system in Ayurveda. So fantastic concept where one disease will be the causative factor. The disease itself will act as a causative factor for the future for yet another disease. So if it is documented that the child was born with neonatal jaundice, that also gives you a clue that probably the child will develop in the development stage also. The pitta will be increased or pitta will be shooting up very regularly, and the person might have the liver related disorders or something related to pitta related disorders. So that becomes an anumana. Again, nidanartha karatva leading to the anumana. Anumana is yet another tool, like the best tool in Ayurveda to diagnose what may come ahead. So Anumana, Arishta Lakshanas, all these things, Anumana a prerequisite, like we can just guess what might happen in the future. Purva Rupas already we discussed, what will happen in the future. Arishta Lakshanas. So it gives a perfect stance for the doctor to reject a particular case. No, this is not in my territory, I cannot handle because these are the Lakshanas. So all these things operate. So the body is giving the signals all by themselves. If these things, every small minute detail is documented right from the pediatric ward, so that will be fantastic, or the OBG ward, it will be really fantastic. So this Tri Roga, Prasuti Tantra, Kaumara Bhrutya department should operatively work to collect the data, initial data of the child, which might be a very good document for the future regarding the Prakriti. Supportive documents.
To consider coming up with CME module for as the neonatologists and pediatricians on Prakriti at birth and including the medical chart. Probably lifelong record along with this digital record, everything combined, we can be close to diagnosing the particular Prakriti of the patient. So thank you very much. This has been a tremendous discussion. Namaste.